Whenever you dabble into something new, it is impossible not to get hit by an avalanche of pretty absurd myths. Let's take as an example if you go to the gym. You've probably heard stuff like drinking lemonade every morning will give you a six pack within a couple of weeks. Or let's say you drop some food on the floor. We all like to believe there is some kind of 5 seconds rule that the bacteria does not have enough time to react. Or whatever silly example you could think of. There are very similar misconceptions to chess. One that I hear pretty often is Caro-Kann is a pretty passive opening for my style. So, in today's video, I'm gonna be walking you through my thinking process as an international master, debunking the biggest 5 Caro-Kann myths. So, let's get started. Alright everybody, getting another game with the black pieces. Gonna be going for the Caro-Kann and opponent plays knight f3, which is not a very common move order for this raiding range. Expecting him to go for exchange. Oh, never mind. Back into the 2 knights. Standard territory where I recommend you go for the Tartakower transposition. And chances are very little of your opponents are gonna go queen e2. I mean, queen e2, it just looks like opponent just had a stroke when they play queen e2. It's a very weird move. So taking on f6 is just way more natural than what I would be expecting you to face below 2000, and it's already a sign that your opponent is pretty clueless. Develop the bishop to d6, and what you really need to understand about the structure right off the bat. Okay, we got the bad pawns. How do we make it up for it? Well, it is about checkmating the enemy king. Checkmating the enemy king? Are you nuts? Okay, let's see. Okay, I can also start by telling you what not to do. Don't break with c5, because opponent has this like 4 against 3. So that's technically their stronger side, and don't attack your opponent on his stronger side. That is not really making that much sense. Even you can figure this out. And yeah, also don't exchange pieces because you lose all the endgames. And voila, you already have a pretty decent understanding of how the structure goes. Now, about the pieces, bishop goes to g4, bishop to d6. On h3, we always slide it back. And knight goes to d7. For Caro-Kann beginners, stop playing c5 trying to go knight to c6. You have to really get comfortable playing this knight on d7 with the pawn on c6. h3, remember I told you to slide it back. g4, typical move overextending, just premature attaculation for opponent. Getting rook on the open file. And next, important maneuver to remember, the knight goes on to f8. It's just, we're driving like a pretty fast car right now. Okay, it's pretty risky with these pawns. But you play knight f8, it's just like you get your seatbelt on. And then we are preparing a very nasty maneuver, okay? Like, important to play bishop c7 and then queen d6. Why? Most people would play queen c7, but you have to compare it. Just imagine, we get the queen to d6. This is just gonna be so scary for my opponent. I mean, just look at it. Queen d6, already targeting pawn, threatening bishop f3 to mate. This is just like an unbelievably scary sniper in the bushes. While, if you play queen to c7, I mean, it's not really creating that much pressure. It's just like you're trying to shoot them with a banana. And it's not even a big banana. So, play bishop c7, way stronger. Now the question is, because of his last dubious move, I can actually start by taking with the bishop and then the queen d6, threatening to infiltrate. And on g3, just take the pawn. How is that going? He has rook b1. So winning back the pawn on b7, I'm not satisfied. Go to queen d6. It better play c5. But that's going to give us d5 square. So at the end of the day, I'm going to be a happy man. I'm a simple guy. Get a d5 square in the Tartakower. We're doing well. Ooh, g4. I'm like really eyeballing rook e3 and then trying to infiltrate. So I feel like I just gotta play it, It's sometimes the hand does things that you're not really responsible for. So I'm gonna be playing rook e3 here. And oh, he just takes that. Meaning we're trading. Can do this also. Okay, I'm gonna be making the most alpha move of all time. Not sure if it's like even a good move, but I'm gonna play it. Saying, okay, take my rook, go ahead. Be my guest. I'm gonna be a very nice Romanian host in case he takes the rook. Let's see. I'm gonna check him once. A king there. Collecting the pawn. That's how we start. King to f2, I have at least perpetual. Alright, he goes there. Good. I can still check him. But I think the killer move is rook e4. This is usually what most people tend to forget about. So we get to bring more pieces into the attack. And has no way of stopping rook g4. Because, well, the knight is kind of tied down to defend h2. So the knight needs to cover that square, and we have ideas to infiltrate. So you're not stopping that one, trust me. I told you in the beginning, we got the Tartakower. We need to play for checkmate. You go endgame, just a slow, painful death. You don't want that. Look for the attack, set up the sniper, sacrifice whenever you can, basically. Don't even have to calculate, and it's gonna be okay. I'm gonna check him first back. I feel like rook g4 is one of the multiple ways to win this. Boom. And what this move basically does, I'm just threatening to take the rook, and that's gonna be mate. Now I have a multitude of double checks, or yeah, just do that because he's actually not defending against it. Check. Only move block with the bishop, and that is gonna be allowing mate. So I didn't really calculate all like the possibilities after rook e3, but it really feels like such a tempting sacrifice. Yeah, with that being said, I think we can move on to the following game. Quick announcement, 19th of June, we're launching the Caro-Kann course. All my courses will be on a sale, and for 20 bucks only, you get access to hundreds of hours of my work. There is absolutely no risk because you have a money back guarantee within the first 30 days. Links in the description. Now, let's get back into the video. Alright everybody, facing another 2000 rated opponent. Let's see if the Caro-Kann is still holding up. He starts with knight f3. This is usually a sign that he either plays d3 or ed5, from my experience. But let's see, could be the two knights. Okay, never mind. Back into the exchange. Okay, let's see. Plays d4. Now I recommend we do knight c6, and the only kind of reasonable line for him is to follow it up with knight e5. Knight e5 is interesting game. Okay, bishop d3, this just means he's completely clueless. Even 2000 rated player. Yeah, like, guys, like these 2000 rated players are stronger than 99% of your opponents, and they still don't really have a repertoire against the Caro-Kann, which is pretty absurd. And here e6, knight f6 are playable. Very simple moves. But even nicer, queen c7, stopping him from getting the desired London system with bishop to f4. So queen c7, nice little touch there. Gonna set up a little trap, threatening to win the pawn. Okay, he saw. Now we go back. And okay, on knight a3, trying to go knight b5, just play a6. He spent like 2 moves for 1 threat. That's easily defendable. And here you have 2 ways of playing it. Knight f6 is the standard way. Could also be interesting to play knight ge7. And then, you know, that could perhaps let you play f6, e5. I'm just gonna go knight f6. It's usually the square that we choose for the knight, so gonna stick with it. Okay, c4, pretty bad move strategically, because we just take and he's gonna have isolated pawn. That's like, you know, the initial instinct. Should we look for anything else? I mean, I don't think so. Yeah, actually, I think for this game, I'm gonna try something interesting. I'm not gonna take because I feel like his position becomes easy to play. So I'm gonna do this maneuver, and I'll try to play for g5. Yeah, I'm giving him this kind of push. And then I think we're trying out this madness with g5. His play is very slow. I could also long castle, but I can delay castling. Now I want a g4. Not sure if g4 is correct, but it certainly is when he loses the knight. And yeah, I guess that's how you get a winning position. Or do you? It tries to make it tricky. It's like really shady though. Like point is if I take with a queen. He's got like rook f6, but then I have queen h3, king g1, queen e3 with check. That has to be good for us. Come on, I don't believe this. Like rook f6, yes, but okay, don't take the bishop. Take this with check, and this is the efficient way. You take everything with tempo. We can do that. We could also do bishop g6 if I want to like reroute this. Could also do queen e3. Like knight d4, he has easy queen trade, which is still like completely winning for me. So I guess we don't mind. Oh, bishop g4. I feel like that's opening up too many lines for my attack. And we get a pretty nice little mating net going. With rook g1. Yeah, 2000 rated player. Just, yeah, they're dropping like flies. If you just play pretty solid in the opening. I feel like at this point he's just gonna rage quit. He may not even make any more moves. Oh, never mind. He just resigned. Okay, I made one blunder. What? I remade in the head. Chess.com. What is this? What is the blunder? I scored like a 93. Where is the blunder? I don't get it. G5 was the blunder. Dude. Relax. So after G5 we're still like slightly better. Turns out taking an E5 was a bit more like precise, I guess, at the end of the day, but I like my G5. So, okay. Key ideas to remember. Queen C7, nice move in case he tries knight A3, go A6. And then just develop. So yeah, knight A3 played do A6. Knight E7 also reasonable here, but yeah, the rule of thumb, knight F6 is good enough. And with that being said, I think we can move on to the following game. Alright everybody, getting a black game, gonna be sticking with our beloved opening, playing the Caro-Kann, and let's see what opponent has in mind. They have a big choice between usually e5, knight c3, or takes. But how interesting, this guy plays the so-called fantasy variation, where you can definitely play a lot of openings, but if you're not playing e5, you're definitely missing out. And the point of this e5 is that, well, we wanna take advantage of this diagonal. This is why we have sacrificed the pawn in the first place. In case you would have gotten ed5, that is queen h4 and queen takes on d4, good move. Against the typical beginner mistake like c3, we take, then queen h4 once again, winning the pawn because of the check is pretty damn strong. So just gonna play bishop c5, and against this he has only one good move, which not many people are aware of in this rating range, which is knight c3. Anything else instead of knight c3 is just rubbish in this position. And he plays ed5. Now, is this a question? Are we gonna get a 7 moves checkmate against like an 1800 blitz player? Let's find out. Queen to b6, targeting the knight. How is he planning to deal with this? He has 2 moves for the knight. Else he's just losing the piece. And knight to h3 is looking pretty scary because of bishop takes. But that is kind of a decent move. But no, he plays queen e2 instead. So opponent kind of felt the danger. Knight e2 is a very typical beginner mistake where even in like 800 rated games in rapid, trust me, I've seen it in my students' games, they just allow this checkmate with the queen on e3 within 7 moves. It's actually pretty absurd. But my opponent plays queen e2, which is basically just giving up on the knight completely. And just like that, in 6 moves, we managed to win a piece. And well, we should be having a completely winning position unless I mess things up. But this should not really be a problem. I mean, it feels like he's trying to trap my queen, but I don't think my queen wants to be trapped. I mean, I wish it worked like that sometimes. So yeah, ready to take. My queen is getting some fresh air after this check. I just gotta be a little bit careful not to allow counterplay. Like at this point, I know we've got him. He's in the bag. Just need to be like a little bit careful not to allow any weirdness. Let's do this. Okay, he takes. Now, typical beginner mistake would be, okay, free pawn. Well, that's maybe a good move, but you wanna be careful. So maybe we can even like delay taking this pawn and try to use it as a shield for our king. But honestly, I think it's better just to re-centralize the queen, shut down this pressure, develop, eventually take the pawn, and we should be Gucci. Let's go knight f6. Pick up the pawn maybe on the next move. Yeah, take it. Take it until you make it. Knight d7 next. Maybe castle long. He can try f4 hitting my queen, but it's not really a problem, I guess, because of queen f5. Keeping everything nicely defended. g4 once again, just queen takes on g4. Bishop d4, I mean, I can easily castle at least. Could also play like knight b d7. It's not like there's much going on. He's like down a rook, and I'm kind of like slightly ahead in development, which is pretty funny. Just gonna take the free pawn. He has one frat, so always watch out for your opponent's frats. In case there are any, don't get too paranoid with it. In case you're in like lower rated games, chances are, you know, your opponents may have no idea of what they're doing. But still, you want to get into the habit of looking for potential ideas. Queen f5, happy to trade queens. More than happy. Up material, because the endgame is for sure gonna be a win. Okay, queen to d2. Only semi-practical chance. And more practical would be to resign at this point, but I know you guys don't like such comments during the videos, so I'll stop making them. Okay, I'm watching your comments. For those of you that are telling me stuff like, stop telling beginners to play Caro-Kann, it's a free win. It's not really a free win. I played a Caro-Kann, I lose 12 games in a row. That's not a good opening. I see you too, and I'm like, really, I'm sorry. But probably if you lost 12 games in a row with the Caro-Kann, it's not really much I can do to help at this point. So, yeah, anyways, let's stick to the educational part of this. 94, just exchanging pieces. Definitely happy to trade more as we get closer to our goal of making it into the endgame, and the rook will start to like really tell more once less pieces are on the board. It's like basically in like a sport. Let's just imagine you went out playing soccer and you're having like a counter attack with 3 against 2. Yeah, that is basically just you know, should be, you know, considered a winning situation. So it's the same. It's harder to like score in let's say 5 against 4 with more people on the field, because there is like less space than 3 against 2. That's kind of the idea. I mean, even better 2 against 1. So you get it. Knight to f6, just preparing to bring my last piece into the game. Just making sure these two guys are like defending each other. And let's see. I'd imagine queen e7, the way I know my opponent. And then we have bishop takes on a2, check winning his queen. Never mind, that is absolutely nonsense. He did none of that. I'm not like a magician, so you may be perhaps assimilating Romanians with that. Not the case yet. I wish I was, though. I'm just gonna sack because, well, rook e3, that is mate. And we kind of open things up a little. I'm gonna have 2 extra pieces, so I like to keep the initiative going, and I'm gonna be terrorizing my opponent with a queen trade. Just look. I'm like so much ahead, I could just try to checkmate him. I don't care about checkmate. Okay, I want to mate, but the main goal is I'm just sacrificing here. I want to do the best of my ability to trade queens and make sure we give him just no hopes of like anything. Okay, bring the king. King is pretty important into the end games. At least that's what they say in the books. So we'll try to follow that. Knight to d5. Idea to maybe infiltrate. Okay, let's start. Now it's literally time to collect. Okay, this is basically we are collecting the safety task. I mean the tax, not the task. So just preparing to do g5. Oh man, I hate it that my English is so awful at times. It really feels like there is no hope for me with that. But we'll try to convert this guy who's like really, he really feels like he's got a chance. Okay, time to do some pre-moving. Time to do some pre-moving against our boy. 9 seconds should be relatively easy. You're not going anywhere, boy. Just chill out. Why is he like so he wants to win this game so badly. He played so bad and still wants to win. This is not how it works, you boy. Not how it works around here. Let's see. Is he gonna like stall now for like 40 seconds? This guy is like literally trying his hardest. I feel like bad for beating on him. I mean, he's gonna get his rating back anyways, because it's an authorized speedrun account, but it's like pretty funny. He just disconnected. Rage quit. He lost against such a weak player like me that he couldn't really handle it. I mean, it is really honestly the most normal reaction that you can have, but with that being said, I think we can move on to the following game. Alright everybody, getting another game. This time facing somebody rated 2000, so let's see if the Caro-Kann is still holding up against this kind of high rated players. So, knight to c3. This is usually an indicator that he may be playing the two knights, but he could also just play d4. But yeah, from my experience, it is the two knights indeed. And are we gonna see the main line? Because I recommend you take. Idea being to try and get back into our beloved Tartakower, but opponent can play Queen e2. So yeah, there we have it, the main line, Queen e2. I recommend you start by taking. Knight e6 could be interesting sideline there, but it's more like complicated. In my course, I recommend you take, and then the point is to stick with the following very tricky move. This is like the main thing you want to remember, because we play bishop to e6, and that is a prophylactic move against a number of things. Okay, don't get me wrong. You could play queen d5, queen a5, bishop f5. I guess it's given by Gotham Chess in his course. That's like reasonable as well. It's just queen a5, queen f4 is leading to like strange variations that are hard to remember. So I like bishop e6 better because d4 is not a good move. And you see my opponent instantly played it. From my experience in this position, you will face both d4 and bishop to c4. Yeah, needless to say, they are just harmless. Bishop c4 you can trade and get a game. You can also play bishop to d5. Okay, on d4, here we get to see that the move bishop e6 really starts to shine. Why? Because we have a very concrete idea. Point is, we play bishop d5, targeting these two pieces, and then the point is we take on f3, forcing a massive concession by white, because if he takes with the queen, pawn on d4 remains hanging. And if he takes with a pawn, well, that is gonna leave him with a very ugly pawn structure. Like almost getting my stiff structure. Queen f3, just gambling the pawn. Reasonable move. We're gonna take, and we'll try to make the argument that white should not have enough compensation. And I like to start knight d7, threatening knight e5, because once we get our hands on this light squared bishop, I think white's attack is over before it even started. So that is pretty nice. Obviously, very happy to trade queens if opponent allows it. But yeah, let's see, just queen g3. Gonna take that immediately, not giving him the chance to save the bishop. And here there are basically two ideas. We can either try to castle short or just long castle right away. I feel like long castle is pretty viable here. I'm just gonna keep it simple though. I feel like the majority of you would go short. It's kind of thematic though for the line to go long. I don't know. I'm just gonna start with e6. And then we'll decide. Expecting bishop e3 type of move, just sacrificing the pawn but developing with tempo. Okay, rook b1 is clearly a sign that he wants to lose. We'll develop with tempo. g7 is covered by the queen. And now we just castled. Bishop e3 not interested in the pawn because he had rook d1 ideas. Plays b3, setting up bishop to b2. I guess I'm gonna play queen to d5 just to be in time to cancel that bishop. Bishop e5. And yeah, I do have how many pawns? Oh, okay, only one extra pawn, but he's got a big weakness. Gonna trade bishops, rook on the open files, double up onto that pawn. Just pretty simple and straightforward stuff right now. Got the isolated pawn on d3, the, how I like to call it, upside down turtle. And okay, how do we increase the pressure? Normally e5, e4, but I kind of got a bit the wrong setup because I would love to have the queen behind the rooks. So I'm gonna do something like this, prepping queen c7, and then I do rook d5, queen back. Okay, I'm still offering queen trade just to be annoying. If he takes, I mean, I'm more than happy. Queen c7 once again, blackmailing him with a trade, and now rook d4. We get to rearrange our pieces with tempo. Whole point being to get my queen behind, and then I want to do e5, e4. That's how you get the decisive push. Yeah, e4, not much you can do. I guess rook e1, but then rook d3 could simplify things. Let's see. Queen there, still e4. I'm happy with the trade, and he still has, he's completely pinned. So here you get to see why it's so effective to have heavy pieces against the IQP, because it really gets you in a position where he has no way to... I'm gonna play d2 if he allows it, by the way. I'm gonna get it into a position where he doesn't have a way to deal with that pawn push. And now this is just a poison pawn because all the endgames are dead lost for my opponent because he's down a pawn in the king and pawn endgame. So I have an easy push. No, not even, yeah, I don't even have to defend that. I get a pawn to c3, and that is usually gonna be a queen. Do you hear the bell? Because we got the little red carpet for the pawn now. c2, c1, no way for him to defend. And yeah, I'm actually pretty happy because this turned out to be, I would say, quite instructive. I guess at the end of the day, it's up to you guys. Let me know in the comments. But yeah, okay. Get rid of that rook. You just wanna get them with a lonely king. Just give them no pieces, no hope, and then you get a little ladder mate. So yeah, remember when they go queen e2, main line in the two knights, take and play bishop to e6. d4 is not a good move because of bishop d5. Take on f3, and yeah, against bishop c4, you could trade, you could do anything. Bishop d5 just as good. So with that being said, I think we can move on to the following game. Alright everybody, getting another game with the black pieces. I'm gonna be sticking with our beloved opening, and alright, opponent playing f4. Huh. I wouldn't be expecting this move too much within this rating range, but I guess it is super instructive for those of you that are below 1500. This is ultra common, and it is really resembling the advanced variation. So positions like this are very similar to this ones. And what is actually quite important to remember whenever you're facing this, you don't want to be rushing with what most of the low rated players tend to do without really thinking too much. They just get the bishop out. Okay, that is not really a bad move in itself, but I really want you to genuinely treat it as it was the advance. So if you are new to the channel, against the advance, I recommend c5, the Botvinnik variation. So point is, just play c5 now. And the idea is we go knight c6, and then instead of developing the bishop to f5, we can even get it on a more like aggressive square to g4, putting pressure on the knight and usually fighting for the d4 square. And then okay, the knight doesn't have the natural square because of the pawn, so typical idea, we play e6 and the knight is preparing to go to f5. Okay, side note, in these positions, I guess you could also use the h6 square just because with the pawn on f4, the bishop can no longer take. I mean, you know that bishops don't jump over pawns, so we just play knight e7. That would be a cool idea though. Preparing knight f5. And alright, it seems like he's really either preparing d4. I think he cannot do d4 because he doesn't have enough control over that square. But he'll just try to develop. Usually like knight a3, c2 is common maneuver to get developed. Knight e2 doesn't work because it allows knight e3. So he plays queen e1. Okay, this is an interesting position. Have easy move, just bishop e7. And probably you're gonna stick with it. Also, h5 is very common and useful in this structure. I want to start h5 just to show you the idea. Point is, he's gonna play h3 sooner or later. I want to take and then fix the structure with h4. Fix that weak square on g3. And anyways, h3 is useful because, I mean, h5 is useful because whenever we take, he's going to have g4 idea. So this is very nice, kind of slowing him down. So there we see knight a3, which I mentioned, bishop e7. Could also play h4 myself, kind of bait him into playing it, because otherwise I might, go all the way with a pawn. Here rook b1. I don't think that's a problem. We just take, I guess. I'm gonna keep pushing. Here I'm expecting him to advance, to just stop me. And okay, here we have interesting idea. I always say to take on f3 against the advance, so this is resembling the advance. Taking is definitely solid, good move. I'm just wondering, would it be better to keep bishop here? Because, opponent feels like his position is a little bit cramped. He's lacking space. His pieces are kind of like gasping for air. Therefore, keeping pieces on the board will make his situation a little bit more difficult to play. So I think I'm going to keep here just for that reason alone. And I have ideas to perhaps infiltrate with a knight and just be very annoying. Okay, knight b5. Whenever you see pieces like this is very common for games that are below 1500. Whenever I have like a coaching session with anybody, I see like a knight jumps on b5. People just are okay. Throw in like a knight on b5. It's basically like, I pay to have a parking spot. And just some rando comes and parks his car there. And you're like, okay, no big deal. I'll just park next to it. No. You just immediately question the guy. What are you doing with that knight in my parking area? Gotta go back. Yeah, you'd better do that, or else you may get in trouble. So, get rid of the knight, and then I could do b5, just expanding. Kind of want to do b5. I feel like the cool kids play b5. It's getting a lot of space. And just gradually improving my position. Not really looking for the deadly blow yet, but just making small improving moves, and hopefully my opponent will blunder. Else, I don't know how I would be making a career if my opponents were not blundering. That would be a pretty rough time. So just gonna do queen c7, I guess, preparing long castle and maybe breaking with f6. It's pretty funny that even king d7 maybe interesting move, since well, he doesn't have a way to open up the position. And on b4, I don't think we're very interested to open up the c file. It could be a move, just maybe considering to get the check on the diagonal. But yeah, not super sure about that. If I play c4, on the other hand, he's gonna try to block the issue. We probably take just to weaken d4. And then I'm thinking about this f6 break. I could have started with check, but I think takes and then take with a g pawn, opening up file for the rook. I think king could be well placed on d7, defending the knight, making room for the other rook. I'm not afraid of him taking my pawn on h4. I don't even think that works, but yeah, okay, rook c1. So first we unpin. Yeah, he cannot block with a queen because that's losing b4 pawn. So we trade and then win. Endgame is nice, and king h2, just king d7. Defending, preparing to bring the other rook. Yeah, king is very safe there. It's a bit of a complicated position, I know. But if he takes, that's gonna make it so much easier. Else we might just go bishop f3, fe. Oh, he plays d4. Isn't that like completely hanging? I feel like that is completely hanging. I feel like opponent is trying to sell something that I'm not interested to buy. Just gonna take. And then gonna be taking with the c knight, because the f5 knight looks to be pretty juicy. Gonna take this way. Idea to perhaps take. And yeah, now I guess we're just endgame mode turned on, because we got the extra pawn. It's no longer about trying to get a checkmate. Oh, knight c2. Guess I want the bishop. Kind of want the bishop. The knight is not doing much. Rook on the open file. Still take with a pawn. He did a good job not taking, because I would have really gotten a devastating attack. Okay, 93, maybe 94, f5. Trying to block the position so there are no tricks. Okay, not a lot of time on the clock, so only 30 seconds. Position is a bit complicated. But yeah, we'll do my best to at least not hang all of my pieces. Spoiler alert, that may happen. So I guess knight back. Can't really fork yet. Wait, maybe I can. Oh no, I blundered. He's got rook d2. Will he see it? No, he didn't. Rook d2, king 8, bishop d4. I think that was working for him. I mean, too bad he missed it, right? Okay. How do I get my pieces coordinated? I guess I don't. Rook h6, try to win this pawn. What can I do? I'm a simple man. I just want that e6 pawn, which is utterly annoying. d3, hit the rook. Getting to maybe bring my queen over. Queen d5, rook g6. Okay, come on. Go bishop c3, take on g7. You know you want that pawn. That allows d2 as well, but... Oh, never mind. He didn't do that. Rook g6. Could have played queen d5. And just ignore me, guys. My moves are... just like my commentary. Struggling to make sense. Bishop c3. Right, I don't know what he wants with that, but... I guess I'll just win the e6 pawn. Okay, he wants rook d3. I've got queen e4. Position is completely winning, but... Will I be in time? I guess rook d8 next. Should be reasonable. Yes. The opponent also going down on time. That is good news. Bishop g7, I've got bishop c7. Yeah, should be in the bag now. He's really slow, and I have endgame available. Okay, he literally... this guy is falling asleep, but I think it was... I think it was really well played game until like king d7 and all that. Main thing to remember from this game, do not play bishop f5 as soon as that's available. Typical, inaccuracy for low rated games. And remember this h5, h4 idea. It is very useful for these type of positions. Trying to bait take, and then your knight has like a rent-free apartment on g3. It's like a very nice little cozy place. So yeah, with that being said, I think we can move on to the following game.